Has this ever happened to you? You're sitting down at your computer, got a big jolt of creative energy. You say, I want to put in 2 or 3 good hours of work on Figma. I want to design the case study. I want to start on a project that's going to land me that design job that I want. You get everything ready. You get your snacks ready. Maybe you prepare a cup of coffee or tea. You're ready to sit down at your computer and you realize, I don't have any idea what I want to design. All right, what's up, everyone? We are back at it with some helpful resources here. I've got all of these loaded already on my browser. So we're just going to start with the first one that I have here, and it's very nicely named. It's called What Should I Design? And this one is simple. It gets right to the point, no gimmicks, no nothing. And I really like how as soon as you land on the website, as soon as you enter this into your browser, it automatically loads up a prompt. So when I loaded this URL for the first time, my prompt was design a Starbucks locating app for fashion police with daddy issues, right? So this is really good because you have your audience, fashion people. You've kind of got a little bit about the persona with daddy issues, and we are designing an app for locating Starbucks location. It is a really, really good way of finding a project that you find passionate about. What we're going to do now, we're just going to click through a couple of these, and obviously you don't have to design the first prompt that you get. I really like these because you can just sit through and reload this as many times as you want. So this one says design a shipment device for monarch with distrustful natures. Don't really know what that means, so we're going to go ahead and click it again. Design a fortune-telling watch for gym buffs with little free time. That sounds like it's kind of fun to get into. Design an outfit ring for bicyclists with dyslexia. Again, these are not always going to be related to UI and UX or designing mobile apps or accessible web pages. Some of these are going to be asking you to design actual physical projects of that nature. So something to keep in mind that you might have to reload your prompt a handful of times before you find something that really speaks out to you. Design a scheduling device for loggers who with a love of puns, so I can see that easily becoming an app or a web page that people access or bookmark on their web browser. Design a scheduling shoe for referees with dark past. I also really enjoy how the color changes too. If you notice, the UI changes with every prompt. Design a workout shoe for potatoes with lots of money. Design an advice website for magicians with vast technological experience. It is kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes some of the prompts are gold, but you really have to dig through them. Like I said, I can go 30 minutes flipping through these just because sometimes I want to save them maybe in my Notion tracker or something, just so that I never run into a creative stall like I have in the past. That's that one. It's called whatshouldidesign.com. Very, very intuitive, I would say, straight to the point, not even advertised. I actually really like this idea, honest. I would not mind buying the developers of this website a cup of coffee or two, if you know what I'm saying. Let's move on to our next resource. This one is called fakeclients.com, and we're just going to go through the page now that we are here, and you can see the work that people have submitted based on the prompts, which is really cool, which you could also use for inspiration. So let's go ahead and click. It's asking you to create an account. I personally have not created accounts, but I think it's really cool to be able to flip through these pages. There you go. I don't know why they weren't loading before. But look at that. Look at that. These are looking really cool. Let's go back to the home page. And there are different kinds of generators, it's looking like. You can navigate and have a different type of prompt. So let's go ahead and do a UX design one. And let's go generate a brief. And it says, hey, my name is Abraham. I'm looking for someone that can design something for me. I want to have a design to quickly and easily help someone sort their clothes in their wardrobe. Can you help me out? See, now that sounds really cool because that sounds like you can create a web, like a closet app, like iCloset or something like that. If you're thinking very retro, first generation iPod Touch, first iPhone, the way everything had I before it, iCloset, but I can totally imagine creating a closet organization app where maybe you utilize some form of like Excel data sheet and images to sort of scan and sort all of your wardrobe, and maybe even add a feature where you can create outfits based on all of your clothes that's logged. That sounds really cool. Let's try generating another brief. Says, hey, my name is Ria. I'm looking for someone that can design something for me. I need a design to quickly and easily check if an item of food is cheaper at another store. We would love to work with you. Again, that sounds really cool. I can see this becoming an app where you scan barcodes, and based on like your user location, say you input your zip code or you insert your favorite store, maybe you can add filtering features like I only want to see stores within 5 miles of where I'm located and compare prices there. Great idea. Let's go over to UI design and see how these ones look. I like how the colors changed too. There's a nice little gradient here too. All right, it says, hi, my name is Darlene. I'm looking for a UI designer. I want to have an interface design of a job listing page. Can you help me? So this person wants to post jobs and wants to make sure that they are able to capture the audience attention for this job post. They want a UI designer. I think that would be a great project. Go ahead and generate another brief. Hey, my name is Jamie. I need a UI designer as soon as possible for a project I'm working on. I would like a design of a coming soon page. There you go. So that's a very simple web page that you could use to sort of incorporate. Fake client has a color brand or a font scheme or a branding look that you can then use to generate this coming soon page. That would be a very cool project, because then you could go on to like a random font generator or a random color palette generator and then add more to this project here. So now not only are you designing a coming soon page, but you're also giving yourself parameters to work with it, right? Because you now have a pair of fonts that you want to add to this project, or a color scheme that you can add, right? Or you could even tap into some open source illustration pages and use those to convey the brand imagery that you want for this prompt. So again, not a bad option. This one is looking really nice. Some of these projects are really good if you design them. If you go through the entire design process, they could even make a good case study. Or I can imagine going through one of these prompts here, designing paper wireframes, creating a simple mock-up, maybe doing some user testing within my Facebook friend group or something like that, where I get 5 or so friends to sort of comment on a single prototype that you can design in Figma, and so on and so on. And as you're building this, you can create a case study that you can then convey on your website or your portfolio to show potential employers what your design process is. So not a bad website. This is fakeclients.com. I totally recommend it. I really enjoy flipping through these. And like I said, when I find a prompt that I like, I always try to save it in Notion. I have a Notion clipper right here on my web browser that will link directly to a page in my Notion setup where I have all of my prompts saved. So another helpful tip too. But let's move on to our next resource, and this one is called Uicoach Io. I also really like this one too because it sort of integrates all of the things that we're gonna need. I'm gonna go ahead and decrease this so we can get the best experience for this website. So it's called Uicoach. And here, what I like about this is that you get all the things that I mentioned before. You get a color palette, you get font pairing, and they even give you an illustration library with a link to navigate to that library already. And what I love is that you can say you like this challenge. Design a social messaging app that allows users to send messages anonymously to random users, whether they know them or not. Let's say you really like this prompt, you don't like the color palette. Well, let's refresh it. Maybe you like that one, or this one speaks to you. And let's say you found the palette that you like. You like this pastel palette right here, but the font pairing is really bad, in your opinion. Refresh it till you find the one that works. Or maybe you don't like the illustration library that they suggest. Go ahead and change it. And I really enjoy this. This is called Uicoach. Very simple. It does prompt you to log in. I don't have accounts for these because I like to just sort of go on these when I'm having a creative block, find prompts that I really enjoy, and then I just save them, clip them to my Notion and save them for later. Or even if I enjoy a color palette, sometimes I'm flipping through these and maybe I don't have time. I'm just flipping through these really fast, very irresponsibly, or just flipping through the color palettes, and I realize, man, this color palette right here I really like. Maybe I'll just save a screenshot it, and then I'll import that. I'll save this to my clipboard, And then I'll copy that into my Notion planner as well, so I can save that color palette for future reference. Let's go ahead and refresh this and see what we get. This says, design a direct messaging app, profile, or chat box. Consider the parties involved in the messages, images, placement, and context of the messages. Are the messages for social purposes, customer support? You then get a color palette, you get a font pairing, and a vector or the illustration library. And the great part is that a lot of these are open source. Say you don't have these fonts installed on your device. When you click this link, I believe it sends you to Google Fonts. So these are all Google fonts that you can download directly to your device. I do believe that these illustration libraries are also open source as well, but let's verify now for sure. Yes, so I do believe that you can use these, and if it's not, it should be pretty simple to sign up and start using those libraries. But that is Uicoach. Nothing crazy there, a very good resource that I do find myself using quite often. And now let's go to our last resource of this video, and this is called UX Challenge, or UX Challenges, but the website is called uxtools.co. Very simple, very minimal design. I really like these illustrations right here. All this is when you log on to, or when you load up uxtools.co, you'll have a scenario and a task, as well as a suggestion for tools that you can use, and it's going to prompt you to share your result. Let's go ahead and check out what this prompt is asking of us. So the scenario is as such. You were hired as a freelance UX designer by a company making a new mobile maps app. Your competitors are Google Maps, Waze, and Apple Maps. They would like you to start sketching out general concepts for this app. They want to look into things like layouts and get some rough ideas to start showing stakeholders and potential users. There you go. So your task is this: create 3 wireframes for this map app showing the home page, what users land on when they open up the app on their phones, what searching for a new location looks like, and the interface for giving the user real-time driving directions. Annotate your wireframe. Point out specific pieces of it to give the thinking behind what you've made. So that's actually really cool. That's really well thought out. So if maybe just the general prompt of designing a mobile map app is too complex or is sort of intimidating, I really appreciate how in-depth this prompt goes, because not only are you avoiding the anxiety of deciding, oh man, what should I wireframe? Do I have to design the entire user architecture for this entire app that's like 30 or 40 individual unique screens? No, here your task is simple. You have to design 3 pages: the home page, the search page, and the what real-time driving directions look like. So there you are very limited. You can focus all of your attention, all of your research, because at least what I would do with this task is that I would download those apps, and I already have a preferred mobile map app, so maybe I would tap into that, do a little bit of a competitors audit to see what these pages look like for your competitors, be that Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, or the plethora of other apps that are available. It would be a good idea to set up a little competitor audit and see what are the things that these apps are doing well, what are they doing not so well, and what are things that I want to add for maybe my specific user, right? Maybe you want to design a map app for a specific audience. All of these applications that we mentioned as competitors, Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, those tend to be very, very general, or tend to be large groups, like people that prefer Google Maps over Apple Maps. But those are 2 very, very large groups, right? You're talking maybe iOS users versus Android users. Although I am an iOS user, but I prefer Google Maps 100%. But you might be designing an app for a very specific subset of users. Maybe you want to design a map app that is very restricted in its geography. Like it's a very good map app for the city of Chicago or for Northern Illinois. That could be it. But now you are not spending too much time worrying about where you're going to take this design prompt. It's very detailed, points you in the direction that you have to go, and then once you do that, you can let your creativity take off. And this is extra credit. Create 2 more wireframes showing a detailed view of a specific location and what saving a location to a favorites list looks like. That sounds awesome. I think that's a great project. You know what? I might even save this myself because I think that is really cool. So it is 1 design challenge per process. So say you want to do something with usability testing. There's going to be a specific task for you to follow. Again, I don't think this is a bad resource. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the prompt for the map app. I think it's a really fun project to engage in. All right, guys, so that is the end of my list. I only have 4 resources for this video, but best believe that I am constantly checking Reddit, constantly browsing the internet to find more resources. I know from personal experience that it is not fun to have a lot of creative energy but not really have an outlet to direct that to. That's all I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Later.